When Caitlin Clark sat down with Travis and Jason Kelce on New Heights, she didn't just talk about basketball, she revealed something Nike has never done before. We're talking about technology that doesn't exist in any basketball shoe on the market right now. And the way she describes it, the obsessive detail, the year and a half of development, the refusal to rush it, this isn't just another signature shoe launch. This is Caitlin Clark rewriting what's possible when an athlete actually controls the process. Let's filter out the noise and connect the dots, because what happened in this interview exposes exactly why Caitlin continues to operate on a different level. This wasn't a scripted product pitch. This was a masterclass in patience, precision, and building something that lasts. And by the end of this, you're going to understand why every other shoe company is watching this rollout with serious concern. Here's what we know. Caitlin Clark just confirmed that her Nike signature shoe contains technology that has never been used in a basketball shoe before. Not improved technology, not upgraded cushioning, completely new innovation that Nike is bringing to market specifically for her. She wouldn't reveal the exact details yet, but she made it clear this isn't incremental. It's revolutionary, and this matters because of how we got here. Many of you have been asking why it took so long. Why didn't she just launch the shoe last year when the hype was at its peak? The answer reveals everything about how Caitlin approaches her career. When she was finishing her senior year at Iowa, Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour all came to the table, and all three companies offered her a signature shoe, not a collaboration, not her name on an existing model, a full signature line. Some companies promised to deliver faster. Under Armour could have had something ready within months. Adidas had aggressive timelines. But Caitlin chose Nike, knowing it would take longer because she understood something most athletes miss. Speed doesn't matter if the product isn't right. If you believe the story behind the story matters more than the headlines. Smash that like button. It tells us we're on the right track. What stands out in this conversation is how intentional Caitlin is about identity. She talks about growing up wanting to be a Nike athlete, the same way every kid dreams about Jordan and the swoosh. That's the aspiration. But she's clear about what she won't accept. She doesn't want a recycled Kobe model with her name on it. She doesn't want something that feels borrowed from someone else's legacy. She plays in Kobe's now, loves the feel, respects the history. But her shoe has to be unmistakably hers, and this is where the real work happened. For the past year and a half, Caitlin has been collaborating with Nike's design team, obsessing over every detail. The silhouette, the cushioning, the lockdown, the way the shoe responds when you cut, how it feels when you land. She describes herself as picky, and you can hear it in how she explains the process. This isn't an athlete rubber stamping a designer's vision. This is a hooper who knows exactly what she needs and refuses to compromise. The technology conversation gets even more fascinating when she starts talking about the Chinese market. She mentions how fans in China will literally cut open Kobe shoes to examine the cushioning technology inside. They want to see what they're getting. They want proof that the innovation is real. It's not about the logo or the colorway. It's about what's actually under the surface. And Caitlin respects that mindset because she thinks the same way. That's why the technology Nike is putting into her shoe matters so much. When she says it's something they've never used in a basketball shoe before, she's speaking to the performance obsessives who care about more than marketing. This is for the players who study every detail, who understand that cushioning isn't just about comfort. It's about energy return, responsiveness, and how your body holds up over an 82-game grind. But this interview wasn't just about the shoe. Caitlin opened up about what this past season actually cost her. The injuries weren't just frustrating, they were relentless. A groin issue that wouldn't heal, quad problems that kept coming back. And anyone who's dealt with lower body injuries knows the cycle. You can't run, you can't cut, you can't do the thing your body has done instinctively for years. And then when you finally get cleared, you have to relearn it. Caitlin describes it as learning to run again, not building back slowly in controlled environments. She got thrown straight into Team USA practice at Duquesne, surrounded by the best players in the world, with zero runway to ease back in. 3 days of high-intensity work where every possession mattered, and her takeaway, she wouldn't have wanted it any other way. That mindset explains everything. Most athletes would describe that situation as overwhelming or premature. Caitlin calls it validation, because when you're back on the court with the elite, and you realize you're right where you were before the injury, that's not luck. That's proof the foundation was never shaken. The Indiana Fever season tells the same story. 6 players went down with injuries. 6. And they still made it to the semifinals, 1 game away from the finals. Caitlin doesn't frame that as moral victory. She frames it as evidence of resilience, proof that adversity doesn't define outcomes if the team refuses to fold. And now she's looking ahead with the same precision she brings to shoe design. World Cup in 2026. Olympics in 2028. Team USA isn't a distant dream, it's the next phase. She's already back in the rotation. She's already proven she belongs at that level. The only question now is how far she's willing to push. Reading between the lines, what this interview really reveals is control. Caitlin Clark is building a career where she decides the timeline. She picked Nike because they'd do it right, not fast. She's designing a shoe that reflects how she actually plays, not what marketing thinks sells. She came back from injury on her terms, proving her readiness against the best competition available, and the signature shoe rollout is just the beginning. Caitlin makes it clear this Nike campaign isn't the finish line, it's the runway. The commercial that dropped, the logo reveal, the merchandise already available, all of it is building toward the moment she actually laces up her own shoe on the court this coming season. That's what she's most excited about, not the marketing, the performance. If you're connecting these dots the same way we are, drop a comment below about what colorway you want to see first, because Caitlin already hinted that the colorway game is where this gets really fun. And we want to know what the community is thinking. Let's talk about what makes this shoe reveal different from every other signature launch we've seen. Caitlin isn't interested in hype for hype's sake. She specifically mentions traceability. The idea that certain sneakers or certain colorways become cultural moments because they mean something. That's the legacy she's chasing. Not just a product people buy, but a product people want, that they remember, that becomes part of the story. And she's thinking about collaborations, not just Nike doing their thing and slapping her name on it. She wants to collab with brands, create colorways that feel intentional, build something that extends beyond basketball. When she talks about this, you can hear the long-term vision. This isn't about one shoe. It's about building a line that evolves with her career. The technology conversation keeps coming back because that's what grounds everything else. Caitlin is picky about what she wears. She knows the exact Kobe model she likes, understands why the cushioning works, and recognizes that whatever goes into her shoe needs to match or exceed that standard. And according to her, it's going to exceed it. She won't say exactly what the innovation is yet, but the way she describes it makes it clear this isn't marketing language. This is a player who tested prototypes, gave feedback, made adjustments, and pushed Nike's design team to create something that's never been done. And now she's confident enough to tell the world it's better than what's currently available. The Chinese market detail adds another layer. When Caitlin mentions how fans cut open Kobe's to examine the cushioning technology, she's describing a level of product obsession that most casual fans don't even know exists. But she gets it. She respects it, because she approaches her own equipment the same way. It's not about the logo. It's about what's actually inside the shoe. The innovation you can't see, but absolutely feel. This is why the Nike decision makes sense in hindsight. Adidas could have moved faster. Under Armour had aggressive timelines. But Nike understood that Caitlin wasn't just another athlete looking for a signature deal. She wanted to build something that would define her career. And that requires patience, precision, and a willingness to get every detail right before going public. The commercial itself reflects that same philosophy. Caitlin talks about how personal it felt, how the people featured weren't just celebrities or influencers, but people who've actually been part of her journey. Travis and Jason Kelce were in it because they've supported her. Her college coach was in it because that relationship shaped who she became. Fans who've been there since high school made it in because their support was real. She describes the ad as very her, not a manufactured version, not a polished narrative that doesn't match reality. Her story, her people, her journey. And that authenticity is exactly why it connected. People can tell when something is real versus when it's been focus grouped into oblivion. Now let's connect this back to the basketball side, because the shoe is just one part of a much bigger picture. Caitlin's injury comeback wasn't easy, but it clarified something important. When you're forced to slow down, when you can't rely on instinct and have to rebuild from the ground up, you learn what actually matters. Fundamentals, discipline, trusting the process even when it's frustrating. She tells the story about her dad refusing to let her chuck threes as a kid because her elbows were out and her form was breaking down. At the time, she hated it. Now she's explaining shooting mechanics to Jason Kelce and realizing her dad was right all along. That's the full circle moment. The habits you build early, the discipline you resist as a kid, those become the foundation that carries you when everything else falls apart. And that same mentality shows up in how she talks about Team USA. There's no entitlement in her voice when she discusses the World Cup and Olympics. She says, hopefully, I'm on the team, because she understands nothing is guaranteed. The goal is clear, the commitment is there, but she's not assuming anything, she's earning it. That's what separates Caitlin from athletes who rely purely on talent. She combines elite skill with relentless preparation and a refusal to take shortcuts. The shoe development process mirrors the basketball journey. Both require obsessive attention to detail, patience when progress feels slow, and a willingness to do the hard work nobody sees. When this interview wraps up with Caitlin joking around with the Kelce brothers, shooting from different spots, keeping it light, you realize why she resonates beyond the stats. She's not performing. She's not trying to manufacture a personality. She's just being herself. Competitive, thoughtful, funny, grounded. And that's the real story here. Caitlin Clark is building something that will outlast the hype cycle. A signature shoe with technology that doesn't exist yet. An Olympic resume that's just getting started. A brand that feels authentic because it actually is. She's not chasing viral moments. She's constructing a legacy one intentional decision at a time. If you want to see where this goes next, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because when this shoe officially drops and we see that revolutionary technology in action, you're going to want to be here for the breakdown. We've got more Caitlin Clark content coming that digs into what this Nike deal really means for the future of women's basketball. You're not going to want to miss it. Until next time, keep connecting the dots. Keep filtering out the noise. And remember, the best stories are the ones nobody sees coming until they're already here.